not using a piece of paper or something swallowable that's not going to make them choke. And they have to hold that with their 2 fingers.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, and what's the cue for this? Open circle. Like I'll come in a classroom, you'll see me sometimes. I'll walk around and I'll start, open up your circle. I want to get my finger in there. They need to be using their fingers. If they hold it with all, and some teachers have some really bad grips, so sometimes you got to watch yourself too. But if you see what they hold with all 5 fingers, they're writing with their arm. They're not using any of the muscles of their fingers. So the penny trick works probably 90% of the time. The penny trick works. And it's easy. Or paper, or pom-pom, something of that nature. Does that make sense? We just don't want, we definitely don't want this grip.
Now I'm like thinking about how to hold
Does that mean the person?
So the midline thing is the one that, like, I'm
If
just
there's-
saying, what should be the first thing that you should look for in kindergarten?
Yeah, a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Midline.
The midline.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If they
Then
can't,
after that,
if they're
what is it?
switching hands, if they're drawing, and then they're switching hands and they're cutting and they're doing all sorts of odd stuff, and I don't let them move the paper because I use it as a screener. They're not allowed to lift the paper up.
Do you
They're not
take
allowed.
it down, or do you make them
No,
hold
they
it?
have to learn to hold it. So they're learning how to hold the paper.
So they can't do any of that, you just start with that.
No. Yep. They
And
have
you
to hold the
don't-
paper and draw lines.
And we don't tell you to document because there's no way to, or is there RTI for that? Or just like holding the paper and stuff like that? Is there?
Well, I haven't gone
Like
back
a
that far, but I'm sure I
documentation.
could.
I mean, I'm just trying to
Like
figure
when you
out.
say that that's an RTI kid, basically.
Well, if
right?
you're, that's why the first thing on the RTI list is midline. Because it says like A, B, and C, check these 3 things first. Midline, hand switching, and I can't think of the one other thing. You don't collect any data until we fix those things, because there's something else going on. If they
Can
can't
you
cross the
send that
midline.
list out? Because I don't think a lot of us know what those 3 things are. If that makes sense. Do you all know what the 3 things are?
Crossing midline?
No, what the 3 things are to look for the red flags before.
We call put out.
Yeah.
Well, one would be a bad grip, crossing midline, and oh, I'm blanking.
Switching
See, I didn't
hands.
know that.
Hand switching. Hand switching. Hand switching.
Huh.
Okay, so
This
this
is always
one
new.
is hand switching and
Grip.
grip.
Grip. And
Okay.
I'll come and do it in your class.
No, I'm just saying, I
I
don't
just
think
can't do it in
anybody
everybody's
knows.
class.
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
No.
I did.
Okay, that's why I
I
just
didn't hear.
wanted to say that, because I don't think anybody knew where to start.
That's why I'm finding out that most teachers don't even know about the midline of the body. That's why I wanted to come in.
We've never had
Trying
that.
to type that out on a document, nobody
I have,
gets
I've
it.
heard about that, but
Right. So you
not
gotta be
in
able to-
relation to
So
developmental.
what I'll do is I'll put a kid on the floor like a side sit, put balls over here with a 3-finger grip. They have to do this.
Ooh, okay.
So I have midline things to work on.
Uh-huh.
It just hasn't come up yet, besides your kid today. So, but the
And see,
first
I
thing
didn't
is
know
first.
that step, and I think a lot, I mean, everybody
I didn't
should.
know it. I
That
think
should
it's
be the
great.
first 3, what is it, what, midline grip and switching
Switching
hands?
hands. Because switching hands is weakness. It's not, and also most of the time the switching hands, a lot has to do with the midline. So you gotta watch when if you have a hand switcher, you always hand them everything at midline. Okay? Just to see if you can find a dominance. And then you start throw a balloon at them, see what hand they hit it with. Bowl, things like that. Opening doors, what they eat with. But if you got a true switcher, it means it's just weakness on both sides. So then from there, you would email me or call Miss Angel, and we'll tell you more stuff to look at. But there is RTI for that too.
So, Joanna, you were saying that if a child uses both hands, that's wrong.
It's a weakness.
It's a weakness, so that.
They're not ambidextrous.
Oh, really?
No.
What if an
They're
adult
so-
uses both hands?
What?
How about if it's an adult that uses both hands?
Oh,
I mean,
gosh,
there's
now
some
we're getting
people that are truly ambidextrous, but it's such a small percentage.
You
You
think
know what I
you're
mean? It's very,
ambidextrous?
very rare.
I'm just weak.
The other thing is strengthening that. The other thing is strengthening the core, because fine motor skills comes from the core. So, but the biggest thing is to have the feet on the floor. So I'll come in, I'll look at the desk and be like,
Okay, that's a
the
good.
kid's doing this, and they're like this. We got to get them in a better position. You wouldn't want to sit at a desk like that all day. And then the other thing is letting the kids move. So a lot of times you'll get a kid that we call a sensory kid or a kid with attention issues. And the first thing I'm going to do is tell you to let that kid move, like every 10 minutes.
Can I tell you this too? One thing I didn't know before this, I didn't know it had to jar.
Well, that's, okay.
And that's something I think a lot
Movement.
of misunderstanding.
Yeah, a movement is a jarring movement, like
So like, it has
jumping,
to be like,
you know, you
something
want
where
to
you're
jar the
pushing.
joints. You're not looking for
Like not
this.
just like a fidgeter. Like
not
Yeah.
this. We're looking for, you know, jumping jacks, things like that. And I list those things. You also can do like a weighted backpack with just books in it and say, hey, Bob, can you go get a drink of water?
be like,
Things like that. Can you put this backpack on? You know, actually, could you move those big books over there and put them to the other side of the room?
them moving has to have a jar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it couldn't
But
be
then
just
what
a
I'm-
brain exercise on Go Noodle.
But
It
I'm
has to
looking
have-
for other things, which is sometimes those jarring movements causes the hyperactivity to go up.
Yep.
But that's the conversation. That's why you email me back and forth. You're like, oh, I did this today, and oh my word, this happened. Then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'll send you other things. So it's all about communication. It's all collaborative. So if you get the data sheets, and I'm working on the data sheets to get them easier. But
Are you with our whole system? Not just for us?
No. And then I could come into your room, and then I'm gonna train all the paras too, because I try to get the paras, 'cause I call them floaters. The paras float between classrooms, so I try to train them. And if we could get it set up, I always like, especially in the kindergarten area, if there's a kindergarten para in this school, I don't know, every school's different, I can train them to do this program. And then the 4 classes just give their 3 worst to that group, and then you can do fine motor, and we can help with that. Okay?
Really good. Oh, this has been interesting.
But if you see me, just grab me.
I didn't know any of this stuff.
It's, yeah,
I didn't. Well, back when I was
No,
in
until
school,
people
we
were
didn't have
telling
this
me, I
stuff.
didn't know either, you know?
I'm talking about college.
Oh, the other thing is, the printers in the office, they're scanners. So you don't have to, you can just put the stuff in the top and email it to people. And then your live documents don't get lost in inter-office mail, because it's in your email, and you can print it. But I'm finding that a lot of the teachers don't know that they can scan from the printers.
Sorry.
You didn't know, right?
Google Doc.
That's us, we'll get to that.
We're working on that.
So any questions? And I'm always the one you come to if you got any odd questions. I have all the odd kids. So if you, something odd's going on in your class, just email me. I've probably heard it before.
And Angel is always usually.
She's the one typically walking around the building.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for kids that switch letters like B's, D's, P's, and Q's?
Well, with this, magic letter C turns into the D, stops the transposing of that a lot of times. Transposing typically is something else. It might be a midline issue. There's typically something else going on. And then this goes right into cursive. So if I get a kid in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade and they're not dyslexic or something like that, I don't want to give them a second language if they're already having trouble reading, but then I'll switch right into cursive because it's teaching a new skill. And you don't lift. So all the commands that I just said goes right into cursive handwriting. So, and it's all written down. You guys good?
Yeah.
And then you just grab me, email me.
I don't know, but as a kindergarten teacher, you should have been trained to that a long time ago, certainly. I could have done it.
She has nothing.
Oh, she thought I had a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Okay, so if you see me walking around, you always can just grab me.
And Ms. Dee, we will email her name and address out to everyone so we have.
Yeah, this has been
Yes,
good.
I will.
But Angel's the one in the building, you can grab her too.
Yes. I'll
But-
email you both via email, so.
Just literally
Typically, when I
grab
walk
her
in a
board
building, I
and
have a
you're-
system, I go through the office, I wave at everybody so they know I'm there, and then I tend to walk hallways. Because I'm hoping, and I always try to find the same spot to stay. So I'm always in the speech room. In this building, my spot is the speech room. So,
So she's on with us.
it's ways,
Yeah,
there's
we
ways to
grab her all
find me.
day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.